Never say that to Colombians. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Tacha.
My name is Sam, and at How to Expat we help expats relocate. Today we want to talk about some things you should never say to a Colombian. Contrary to what we from the developed world do, Colombians don't really get offended too much. So, I know in our world, let's say where we're from, everybody gets offended by, I don't know, some kind of trigger words and stuff. It's not really that in Colombia, but there's certain things you have to know and should never say to a Colombian, or never kind of do or communicate, whatever. And this is what we're gonna talk about in this video. So the first thing is, which is very, very different to the cultures of US, Switzerland, Canada, Germany, these kind of places which are very, very direct in communication, is the blame game. So people here, they don't really like to take responsibility. So if, for example, somebody messes something up, they rather have it in silence than trying to blame the guy and solve the issues. So do you have...
They even have it in the vocabulary.
Yeah.
They don't have the term of, I'm sorry I did that. They say, que pena, which is like, what a pity.
Yeah.
So it's really like they don't blame themselves that happened, even though it was their fault, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, what a pity that happened. So it's kind of a cultural thing to not taking responsibility of anything pretty much you do, because this is just not what you do. So you don't point out to someone and say, it was your fault that happened. That's not the thing to do here. It's like, oh, it was bad that this specific thing happened and stuff. But if you say like direct, like this is your fault, that's way too direct, and that can get someone really, really offended because they're just not used to that.
Exactly. And yeah, one of the que pena is really that I was so surprised when somebody, like a clerk, by accident kind of pushed something off the counter, and I had to pick it up, and she was like, yeah, what a pity. And I was like, it's so weird that somebody says, like, you would just say, oh, I'm sorry, but that's a thing. And this is generalized, of course. People take responsibility and stuff, you're gonna get it. But anyway, the thing is, if you knew or you met somebody new or things like that, it's just you have to know that it's not as direct as it would be in your home country. Then the second thing, this is really the only thing where you can really offend a Colombian. It is spelled Colombia with an O and not Colombia. There are even shirts printed like that. There are people running around with hats. It's really a thing. For me, I don't care. I'm a very practical person. If I can read that, read Colombia. I don't even correct people in the comment section about that. It's really not too big of a deal for me. But yeah, there's some people, especially some Colombians, that really hate that. So is there something you want to add there? I think it's quite straightforward.
No, it's pretty much that. Just like if you talk about Colombia and how stuff, like when you're in the comment section, you want to talk about Colombia, it would be really nice if you just could spell it right, because some people get offended by it. Exactly. That's not our problem if someone gets offended by it, but I think it's good to know.
And then the third thing is, people come here, some foreigners think that Colombian food should be like Mexican food. Some people heard from friends or from family or neighbors in their home countries that food in Colombia is very, very good or very, very bad. There's all these misconceptions. We'll soon have a video about the misconceptions about food here in Colombia. Yeah. But if you don't like the food, and that can very well happen, because in Colombia, you get very, very good food and very, very bad food. For example, empanadas is great. Yesterday we had great empanadas, but you have to know where to get them. Usually 80% of empanadas are just not really that good. So just a little example there. So if you don't like the food here, then you just suck it up and you say it was good and that was it.
Interesting, or like everything, but not saying I don't like the food, pretty much. Especially here in Medellin, for example, they're really proud about their beans. So when they ask you what kind of food you like or Colombian food you like, and you say the beans, they're so happy.
Oh, yeah.
But imagine if you would say, I don't like the beans, it's the other way around, right? So it's just like respectful to say, yeah, it's interesting, the food is interesting or whatever, but yeah, don't say you don't like it.
Yeah, I had a little catchphrase when, for me, Colombia or where we live in Medellin feels a lot like the north of Italy. And I always said, kind of as a fun, as a joke, the culture. So when I talk to Colombians and they ask me how do I find it, and as I like to say that it feels for me a lot like Italy, just there's one difference or two differences, that the Italians can dance and the Colombians can cook, but the rest is the similar thing. And some people get a little offended by that, like, yeah, usually I kind of have a feel of to whom I can say that and to who not, but yeah, with one girl I kind of messed it up and she was like, okay, she didn't really like it, so it's a little example there. Then the last thing is just respect the culture in general. If you come here, and we see that not so much with our clients, but with other people, it's that people come here, they maybe have never been abroad, so they just know their home country, mostly speaking the US, because most of the people, foreigners that come here that are not from other Latin American countries are from the US. They find that things here are different, and they think that in their home country things work better or whatnot. And especially in the first couple of years of coming here, that's my suggestion. Just try to learn from how they do things here and not try to change or teach them how things could be done. Sure, maybe in the future, yes, but the first couple of months or years you've been here, try to observe and try to find out why they do that, instead of like, oh, that's not how it should work. So yeah, I think that's important.
Or where I'm from, that's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course it's different. You're not in another country, and sometimes they have the reason to do that, sometimes they don't have a reason to do that, but it's just another country, right? So we're gonna respect the rules, and we're just gonna do whatever it needs to like kind of adapt to the country and the culture.
Yeah, so, because people can get offended. Let's say we have the example of a volunteering event where some volunteer went to one of the neighborhoods to try to help out in the community, and she went into the house of the little grandma, of the abuela, and said, oh no, that house is so horrible, it rains in and stuff.
So and then, sorry for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that was not even the case. So it rained in, yes, but where she would want to volunteer was even another spot. And the lady was offended because, yeah, she thought she has a nice house. Yeah, right. So just be aware of those little subtle things that you would think, oh no, that's horrible. Maybe in Colombia that's not horrible. Maybe that's just luxury, normal, maybe. And they like it that way. So this is just, a good kind of rule of thumb to know that, try to observe first and then judge. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Don't forget, we offer Skype consultations if you want to find out if Colombia could be something for you, or if you want to talk with us about your specific questions. The link to that is in the description down below.